Hello Aviation News live community. For today's news clip, Air Canada flight attendants overwhelmingly refuse wage deal. For simpleflying.com, Air Canada flight attendants have voted overwhelmingly against ratifying the company's wage offer. The latest news, which comes after August disruptive strike action, resumes operational uncertainty. Both parties assure, though, that industrial action will not continue. The voting result was revealed on Saturday afternoon. Air Canada's more than 10,000 attendants have decided to massively vote against the agreement. Of the 94.6% that voted, a whopping 99.1% decided to reject the offer. These numbers point to continued frustration from the company's employees, which manifested itself during 3 days of strike action that began on August 16th. Air Canada's flight attendants' decision to reject the wage deal is significant, primarily because the offer was the incentive needed to end the strike action in the first place. Though the wage deal has now been rejected, it will not lead to what Air Canada has described as labor disruption. Instead, in a statement, Air Canada announced that the two parties would enter mediation in order to resolve their ongoing pay dispute. They had already planned for this outcome and took measures to avoid post-result strike action. The statement reads, Air Canada and CUPE contemplated this potential outcome and mutually agreed that if the tentative agreement was not ratified, the wage portion would be referred to mediation and, if no agreement was reached at that stage, to arbitration. The parties also agreed that no labor disruption could be initiated, and therefore there will be no strike or lockout, and flights will continue to operate. The offer was tentatively agreed to on August 19th and saw improvements to wages, pensions, and benefits, the carrier said. It also included much-needed compensation for work on the ground, reversing previous structures that only paid crew for time spent in the air. The carrier adds that the agreement was achieved without concessions from the union. Its members, however, have refused it. The union rejects Air Canada's framing of the situation. It argues that the carrier never bargained in good faith on wages and clarified that the offer would still mean flight attendants are paid less than the federal minimum wage. It also highlighted the incompatibility of poor wages with the national symbol for Canada. The offer included an increase of 12% in year one for Rouge flight attendants and mainline crew with 5 years service or less. This increase dropped to 8% for mainline flight attendants with 6 or more years with the company. For the remaining 3 years of the contract, the carrier offered annual increases of 3%, 2.5%, and 2.75%. Despite the rejection of the offer, the union says flight attendants have already managed to receive partial pay for their ground duties. The strike began on August 16th and impacted all Air Canada and Air Canada Rouge flights. Air Canada Express brands operated by PAL Airlines and Jazz Aviation were unaffected. More than 100,000 passengers were affected each day, and the knock-on effects of the disruption continued for several more after that. Despite the federal government issuing a back-to-work order, deeming any strike action thereafter illegal, the union stayed its course. It has been decades since any Canadian union has been this defiant, analysts have found. It is not common practice for ground work to be paid in North America. However, the intensity of the frustration at Air Canada is seemingly unwavering, and the push for ground work to be paid is said to be a phenomenon that is likely to extend across the continent over time. The union described the government's role in the negotiations as corrosive and accused it of breaching its neutrality, siding with Air Canada and keeping its thumb on the scale throughout the process. What do you feel would be a fair deal for Air Canada's flight attendants? Let us know in the comments below. If you can do us a favor, if you like this video, please hit the like button. If we earn your subscription, hit subscribe. Also hit that notification bell so you know when future videos come out. If you want to help spread the love of aviation, down in the description below is a link to our PayPal account. Don't forget to check out our sister channels. If you like plane spotting videos and live streams, check out AVGEEKTOURS. And if you like travel vlogs from an aviation lover's point of view, check out AVGEEK Travels. Thank you for watching, and as always, happy spotting.